Hi, my name is Michael Rockefeller, and I met a bizarre and mysterious fate on the remote islands of New Guinea. If you're curious to know what happened to me on that island, it's better to stay with me until the end of the video. Because at the end, I want to tell you a terrible secret from the last moments of my life that will give you goosebumps.
Have you ever imagined how primate cultures that still survive in the faraway lands of the world lead their lives? Well, I have to say this fascinating question led Michael Rockefeller to scary and uncharted territories. Unfortunately, he never returned and he never had a chance to share his adventurous stories with us. And if you want to know exactly what happened to him, stick around to the end, because this one has a truly spectacular twist. In 1961, Michael Rockefeller began a daring expedition to gather art for his father's gallery in New Guinea. Michael's destination was home of Asmat, an ethnic group almost unknown to the Western world at the time. Visiting the Asmat was like taking a time machine back to the Stone Age. When Michael turned up, they had no textiles or metals. They hadn't even invented the wheel. But whilst they weren't too clued up on tech, they were masters of art and crafts. Michael was obsessed with the artwork that the Asmat tribe created. The Asmat tribe doesn't make them for the art. They make them because they believe they contain the souls of the warriors from the tribe who have been killed in combat. Months ago, Michael had come and visited the Asmat tribe. He had learned about these beast bulls. He believed he had successfully negotiated a deal where he would barter some of his own goods in order to get one of their best pool. But even though Michael gave them all the things he had offered, they had not in return sent the beast bulls. So Michael was coming back to hopefully be able to claim the beast bulls and take it with him. But an unexpected event beyond even your imagination happened to Michael and changed his life forever. On the morning, Michael's boat got caught up in the massive storm, the boat filling it with water, and the engine didn't start. Michael's crew consisted of 3 other people. There was a French anthropologist named René, and there were 2 teenagers who were actually Asmat guides, and their names were Simon and Leah. So, after Michael was unable to start the engine, Leo and Simon decided to swim to the shore and assist Michael. However, it hadn't been long since Leo and Simon had set out when another wave capsized Michael's boat. Michael and René struggled to guide themselves to the remaining pieces of the boat floating on the water, and they managed to save themselves from drowning. After 24 hours with no sign of rescue, the guides had clearly abandoned them. So, he tied a couple of empty jerry cans around his waist and struck out for shore. But what happened next? Well, for René, the question has a brief answer. He stayed with the boat and was rescued by the Dutch a few hours later. As for Michael, that was the last time anyone saw Michael Rockefeller. But where was Michael really? Well, if you've enjoyed the video up to this point, I must tell you that you'll get the answer to this question in the next few minutes. But before we discuss what actually happened, please like it to show your support. His family went looking for him but couldn't find him. They eventually concluded that he was dead. However, in New Guinea, a very different story began to spread about what happened to Michael. 5 years after Michael was declared dead by his family, an adventurer, a magazine reporter named Milt McLean, heard from a mysterious Australian source for the magazine. They claimed to have recently saw Michael Rockefeller in the jungles of New Guinea. He visited the jungles, but there was no sign of habitation. So, Milt, feeling very let down by this, and came back home. But 40 years later, another documentary film crew decided to go to New Guinea and search for Michael. However, there was something odd in their footage. They found a brief shot taken from a distance of Asmat tribe warriors. One of them stood out, a naked, bearded white man who bore a striking resemblance to Michael. 4 years after this unseen Milt McLean footage came to light, a National Geographic journalist named Carl decided to go to New Guinea and finally uncover the truth behind what happened to Michael. He lived with the Asmat tribe for months. Gaining their trust and respect, they began to share a completely new story, one of that Carl had never heard before, about Michael's fate. They also issued him a dire warning: if he ever revealed what actually happened to Michael, the entire village would likely be killed, and he might face the same fate. But what really happened to Michael has been so terrifying that they threatened Carl with death. After Michael had jumped into the water to get help, he reached the boat of the Asmat tribe, which had nearly 50 people on it. They saw Michael and decided to help him. When they reached the shore, there was no village in sight. It was just a clearing on the shore. Michael began to sense that something was wrong. Suddenly, one of the men from the Asmat tribe began laughing at Michael. And then, before he could do anything else, the entire tribe stopped laughing. One of them stood right over Michael, smiled at him, and then raised his spear, driving into Michael's side, and then the other side. And then they dragged and took him into the jungle. Then one of the tribesmen walked up to Michael, grabbed his head, and pushed it forward, exposing the back of his neck. And then other tribesman comes up and he raised an axe and he bring it down on the back of Michael's neck. But why? Were they upset that Michael wanted to take their historical baseball? Or was it just a stroke of bad luck for Michael that he became part of the ordinary sacrificial ceremony? After his head was removed, they began cutting Michael's body, cooked, and ate him. When all part of his body that were eaten, his brain was remained. Apparently, brain was the most important part and only elders were allowed to eat it. At the end, they took Michael's skull and bring it back to the village to cover it in banana leaves, painted and treated like a trophy. So, you tell me, what do you think? Was he drowned and eaten by sharks? Or did he survive and get eaten by people? Or did he forget his big heritage to join with nature? In this video, we discuss a famous boy who goes missing in a remote tribe. But in the next video, we will talk about the lonely girl who goes missing in the cornfield and ends up being murdered. If you want to uncover the horrifying and hidden secret behind the tall cornfields, be sure to watch the next video.